Hi, this is me, Mr. Saeed Wazir. Today's topic is Pakistan's foreign policy. The topic is vitally important because this relates to current affairs, Pakistan affairs, international relations, and ASEAN. To begin with, what a foreign policy is, how to differentiate foreign policy and diplomacy. Simply speaking, foreign policy is your self-interest strategies to achieve national interest, and diplomacy is the tool to achieve these strategies, these objectives in the milieu of international relations. Now, the interrelation between foreign and domestic policies. According to Jeff Kennedy, domestic policy can only defeat us, but foreign policy can kill us. So, in a nutshell, both are interrelated, they overlap, and they complement each other. According to Qaid-e-Azam Muhammad Ali Jinnah, our foreign policy is one of friendliness and goodwill towards all the nations of the world. Constitutionally speaking, Article 40 of the Constitution of 1973 spells out a number of foreign policy principles. It should be neutral, it should be comprehensive, it should be objective, and it should be impartial. That is the standardized criterion in the Constitution of 1973. What are the determinants of Pakistan's foreign policy? That is important. The most important things are your national security, number 2, territorial integrity, number 3, political sovereignty, number 4, economic interest abroad, number 5, your role, Pakistan's role in the Committee of Nations, number 6, politically negotiated solution in Afghanistan, number 7, bilateral and multilateral relations with neighbors and global countries and powers. And the last one, which is very much important, is regional connectivity and trade and traffic. To further elaborate Pakistan's foreign policy, we are supposed to begin with different phases of foreign policy in Pakistan. If you focus this chart, history of Pakistan's foreign policy. Phase number 1, from 1947 to 54. That was a defining phase, because initially we got independence and we were in search of economic security and military capabilities. So we joined economic and security organizations led by the West, especially the United States of America. Phase number 2, from 1954 to 62, that was a prospering relations with the West, because the flows of economic aid, they were coming to Pakistan in return for the services were delivered in the wake of containing the spread of communism. Phase number 3, from 62 to 70, that was a transitional phase of Pakistan's foreign policy, because in 1962 the American military help didn't reach Pakistan in the wake of Indo-Pakistan War. In phase number 4, 1971, the national disaster of epic proportion, when the Islamic Republic of Pakistan was dismembered into 2 sovereign states. Again, phase number 5, 1972 to 79. Non-aligned approach or bilateralism added with bilateralism. The Pakistan People's Party, in a landslide victory, resorted to the Middle East, to the Gulf countries. And in return, we received a huge international remittances, and they filled our coffers, and we maintained and we kept on developing our secret nuclear resources. You can say sites or critical installations. Again, we are coming to phase number 6, 1979 to 90. Revival of the Pak-US relation. Why? Because the Soviet Union invaded the Islamic Republic of Afghanistan, and with the help of the US and other Muslim countries, they launched global jihad against the spread of communism. Because the godless communism was depicted as a direct threat to the national sovereignty of Pakistan. Phase number 7, 1990 to 98. Post-Afghan war dilemma. Again, a sort of divorce, a sort of disengagement, a sort of disillusion did happen, because the United States of America didn't need Pakistan for its services. Phase number 8, 1999 to 2001. Trade-offs for going nuclear. The West compromised on different issues, and Pakistan exploded. Pakistan detonated its nuclear arsenals, and there were a sort of compromises. 2001 onwards, post 9/11 scenario. So this is a very lengthy and debatable topic, the last one, but inshallah in the next class I will explain this. Now, historically speaking, we are coming to the gist. Pakistan, historically speaking, Pakistan committed two egregious blunders. Blunder number 1, that is regarding foreign policy. For internal survival, for their political expediency, for their rule in the country, they sought out international support. That resulted in lack of indigenous leadership and created a syndrome of bad governance in the country. So our leadership was unable to formulate independent, critical and meaningful foreign policy. The second egregious blunder was they participated in regional and global military misadventures, given the fact they were unable to anticipate their domestic ramifications, like the military adventure against the Soviet Union, then the political recognition to the Afghan Taliban in Afghanistan in 1996, and then the war on terror we participated in. It was a one-man show. So these blunders, they haunt Pakistan even today in 2019. Now, I'm coming to the point, long-term, holistic, meaningful, methodical, out-of-the-box solutions. If you focus the solution part, that will be very helpful. Policy options for Pakistan's foreign policy. Solution number 1, the Trayuka Farrago. The Trayuka Farrago. Farrago means a confused mixture, a mismanagement, a hodgepodge. In Pakistan, 3 major stakeholders. They are the Foreign Office, the cabinet under the leadership of the PM, and the military establishment. They are all important. So it is a bit difficult to develop consensus across the board. To put it very rationally, the parliament should consult the military in terms of strategic, defense and security realignments या dimensions. Their input should be incorporated, but the civilian supremacy, it is the parliament who is sovereign, who is independent in formulating and implementing foreign policy. That should be ended with visionary leadership and clarity. Point number 2, neighbors first policy. China has disputes with 18 countries, but it has booming, prosperous and viable trade relation with all the countries. Pakistan should focus on neighbors first policy. Neighbors are India, Afghanistan, Iran and China. So if in the region it is peace and security, trade, connectivity and movement of people will be facilitated. Solution number 3, avoiding extra-territorial military alliances. In the wake of 1950s, we participated in Sintu and Situ, and the result was total disappointment. Now, in the wake of MBS, Mohammed bin Salman, again we participated in the Islamic Military Alliance. Will the alliance fought alongside Pakistan against India? Will the alliance participate in domestic counter-terrorism activities? Will the alliance contribute into our defense expenditures? No. That is ideologically tainted, that is sectarianized in nature, and that is against one specific country, that is the Islamic Republic of Iran. So Pakistan should avoid unwarranted participation in such military or other sort of organizations. Solution number 4, balance between superpowers. India, initially it remained non-aligned, but later on it diversified its foreign policy. Pakistan, historically, from the very beginning, establishes a relation with one superpower at the cost of another, and that is evident from the initial participation in the Western-led camp or bloc. So we suffered, we took the brunt of that misguided decision. Now, Pakistan should create a meaningful balance between Russia, China, European Union, and the United States of America. I will explain this point from the whiteboard because all the data has been delivered over here. Point number 5, parallel management of economic and political issues. That is called Chinese model of diplomacy. Like, in the wake of any untoward incident, we couldn't differentiate between political and economic matters. Like earlier I said that China has disputes with 18 neighboring countries, but China has maintained trading relations with all those countries. Pakistan should do the same, especially with India and Afghanistan. In the wake of any untoward incident, there is border closure, there is disruption, suspension of trade and traffic, and there is termination of diplomatic relations. Even there are two nuclear power states. So this Cold War thinking should be avoided at all costs. Solution number 6, role of a mediator in the Muslim world. Instead of aligning with one or more than one particular countries on the basis of ideology, on the basis of sectarianism, on the basis of other political considerations, Pakistan should play a role of a mediator between the Muslim countries. That will result in its national, regional, and international status, respect in the comity of the nations. Point number 7, backdoor diplomacy. Pakistan also, apart from official diplomacy or negotiations at state level, the leadership should also conduct negotiations behind the curtains. They could be politicians, they could be media groups, they could be think tanks, and they could be civil society organizations. Solution number 8, improving nuclear credentials. In a bid to become a regional and global economic hub, we need to invest in energy. And we can and we will be able to do this if we use nuclear energy for civilian purposes. And for that, Pakistan is obliged, Pakistan tends to develop, to exercise internationally recognized standards of nuclear proliferation in a bid to stop, in a bid to discourage nuclear proliferation in the region and beyond. Solution number 9, hiring lobbies for international support. In multilateral, regional and global organizations, Pakistan should strive hard to create like-minded countries and to bring them to the point that it is playing a very positive, very holistic role when it comes to traditional and non-traditional threats to the very existence of countries. 10. Maritime security and connectivity. According to Roosevelt, your power lies in maritime power. Now, in the 21st century and in the wake of BRI, Build and Road Initiative, it is important to invest in Gwadar, to invest in Karachi, and to ensure security in the region. So that point is very much important because Pakistan is geostrategically a very important country. It connects Asia with the Middle East, and it can play a role of a bridge between the European countries, the Gulf countries, and the Asian countries. So this is important. Now, I'm coming to a very important point, and that is economic diplomacy or economic initiatives. According to Lee Kuan Yew, the Prime Minister of Singapore, what he did, what he espoused, he transformed the notion of nation state into market state. So you can focus this point. See, economy trumps all other considerations. US-Mexico trade volume 671 billion. Despite they have political issues, political conflicts, military conflicts. China-India 85 billion to 100 billion. US-China 737 billion. India-Russia 10 billion. India-Pakistan just 2.15 billion. China-Pakistan 12.8 billion. Pak-Afghan 500 million. India-Afghanistan, see, 2 billion. Pak-Iran just 318 million. India-Iran 14 billion. India and Kingdom of Saudi Arabia 27 billion. Pakistan and Kingdom of Saudi Arabia 3.6 billion. India USA 88 billion. Pakistan USA 6.6 billion. So, who is our all-weather friend? Who is our brother? And who is our chief supporter? This chart it clearly indicates the differences, the preferences the country prefer over other things. Now, in the wake of foreign terror, we have lost 130 billion US dollar, and we incurred human losses more than 80,000, including the security forces, and we received a meager amount of 33 billion US dollar. So it is time to rethink, to unpack, to analyze our domestic and foreign policies in the wake of globalization, in the wake of regional and global realignment. Inshallah, next time I will come up with something new that was other related to current affairs, international relations, Pakistan affairs, and essay. See you next. Hope for the best.